Hey, it's the Midnight Raven, and today I wanted to talk about mental health. So, I haven't recently done a lot of YouTube. I must admit, I've not exactly been off of YouTube, but I haven't exactly been on. And mental health is something that still carries a stigma, and it always probably will do. The minute you mention you're low or upset, everyone jumps to so many conclusions and wants to analyze you and become your counselor, your therapist, your mentor. Um, and it can sometimes be quite overbearing, but also if you don't have anybody asking how you are, what's wrong, how can we help, it can also be the opposite. It can be a lonely place. So, over the years, I have had wavering mental health. I'm not going to lie. I have been the lowest of the low, and things have been hard. I literally drag myself out of bed some days. I don't want to get up. I don't want to see anyone. Other days, I'm crying out for someone to notice me, to message me, to call me, to acknowledge I exist. Um, I've had days where I felt that if I just suddenly disappeared, nobody would care. No one would even notice for at least a couple of days. Is that a bad thing? That people aren't hounding you and messaging you all the time and calling you all the time and want to be totally like overloading your life. But then there's the opposite of if someone doesn't call you for a day, you could be dead and no one would know. Would anybody care if you didn't text them for a day? If you didn't hear from a loved one for a day, would you worry? Would you think there was something wrong? So I have what I want to call a roller coaster of emotions, um, stemming from a lot of different issues, none which I want to divulge, but things have always been a bit rocky. Nothing's ever, in my case, just level. Nothing ever just seems on point. It always seems to be above or below, but I don't seem to have that middle ground of just calm. It's either one or the other. And most of the time it's under. It's low. Um I feel really dark sometimes. I'll turn the light off, I'll sit in a dark room, I'll have music playing and I'll just lay there. Other times I just go for a walk and just wonder if I disappeared, would anyone notice? I've cried myself to sleep many a night, many a night. I can't remember how many times I've cried myself to sleep for. I don't know. I really don't know. But other times I get overwhelmed. You got people calling, texting, blah 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 blah, and then it's like, oh, can't they just leave me alone? And then when they do, there's just nothing. It's just silent. And then you suddenly think, well, no one cares. One minute they needed me, the next minute they don't. It's silly, I know. It's a cause of many things, emotional. My mental well-being has always had some darker corners. I'm not gonna lie, I've had dark places that my mind has gone to, which I don't wish on anybody. There are happier occasions where, I'll wake up one morning and I don't have thoughts of like moving away or not being around and sitting there thinking, if I didn't, you know, turn up to work, would someone worry? If I didn't text them, would somebody worry? If I didn't have a phone call for a couple of days from anybody, would anyone just think, oh, I should really text her and see if she's all right. I don't think like that. I just think, well, everyone's got lives. I'm just really not that important to anyone, which is it's a really bad thing to think that you are just so unimportant that your life is that insignificant to everybody that you could literally blip out of existence and it would take people time to notice you were gone because you are so. I wouldn't say I'm a recluse. I do socialize. I'm not one that's like out 24/7. I can't be like that because people in this world just annoy me. There are little things that just me right off. And sometimes you just need a bit of way from what I want to call the hustle and bustle of the crazy world that we live in. But mental health is always the one thing that people either don't want to talk about, don't want to acknowledge, or they're just ways of people just saying, oh, you're crying out for attention, or you're doing it just for the sake of this, that, and the other. And it's not like that. My depression that I feel has been around for years. It's not just a trend or the latest TikTok thing to be, mildly depressed. It's not hip, it's not cool, it's not stylish, it's not something that people are proud of having, and it's also not something that you can just get rid of. It's not like the latest TikTok trend, there'll be a video put out and everyone will hype it up and then they'll move on to the next thing. These are conditions that people continue to have, whether it's, um, dark thoughts, thinking of other bad things, which I can't mention because I'll be demonetized. They're not things that people just randomly decide to do. Most of the time, this has been building. There's thoughts. It can be a switch that's just gone, but usually there's some catalyst, some reason, a trigger, a situation that's happened that just won't let go or just let you be. Or it could just be that you have found solace in how you're feeling and that you yourself are comfortable feeling like that, but maybe people around you don't see it like that. And that is where you get the pressure to either make yourself better, to change, that you're just attention seeking, there's nothing wrong with you, you're a drama queen, you're just lazy, or this, that, and the other. And that's not necessarily the case for most people. Some people might play on their mental health as a way of, not going to social events because they tell their friends, yeah, I don't feel like it. Or the more wider one is that people don't want to work. So if they just cry mental health now, they can just claim benefit, and just have an easy life. There are some people out there that will use mental health for good, and some people use mental health for bad things. Um, but it is a topic that is still taboo. You mentioned you have mental health problems, and people either want to shy away from you or they want to psychoanalyze you and give you their thoughts and opinions, which is okay. But sometimes there are people that think they can fix you and they're like, well, you just need to do this, 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 and this, and then you'll just wake up one morning and it'll all be gone. Yeah, that's not how it happens. It's not how it happens. It's not how it is. It's just not. Um, but you just have to remember that you aren't necessarily alone unless you want to be. I do like being alone, but I do find that the more alone I am, the more my mind wanders, and it's not good. But I also don't want to be bombarded and overcrowded. Um, and told quite a lot of time to smile and things can't be that bad, and the typical cliches of just, well, just don't be like that. Okay. So if you're out there and you are struggling, you have issues, concerns, problems, always remember the best thing you can do is listen. They're not looking for advice most of the time. They're not looking for you to fix them. They're looking for you to listen to them, to hear them, to give them an outlet for their concerns, their emotions, and the best thing you can do is just listen. Listening to somebody is the most powerful thing you can do for them, because it takes a lot for that person to come out and say there's something wrong, or they need help, or they want to put their emotions on their sleeve. And that takes so much in a person to become that vulnerable to somebody else, whether it's a loved one, your doctor, a family, a friend. It takes a lot to make yourself vulnerable, to put your heart, your emotions for everyone or just that one person that you want to see. So you have to remember that that step is the biggest step. It's not the finish line. You're not that far down the line yet, but it's the first step on a journey. And whether you're with that person or you're just behind them the entire way, it's a way forward for them and for you to not only understand them, but to be with them and support them, but not push them to get to the finish line. Because it's a journey. It's not a race to get to the finish line. It's a journey. And however long it takes is dependent on the person. If they want to reach there sooner, maybe they'll push themselves a bit more, but it's always for them to decide. So I hope this helps. I myself am having a mental blip right now. I've had good days and bad days. That's why I took a holiday. And now I've come back and I feel that I've rejuvenated somewhat, but I still have a long way to go. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.